Hey ladies and gentlemen, again coming to you from this time from my front porch, where I'm trying to see if I can't find some plants that could help me in practicing the forage crops identification. Let me show you what I found here near my front porch. Some of you have already seen some place that looks sort of like this, maybe closely mowed, but still has a lot of different species that are present. And right down here at my feet near the curb of my house, I can find what I'm sure is white clover again. I can pull that up and find the stoloniferous sort of growth. I can see that I've got a palmately trifoliate leaf and really inconspicuous but membranous sort of stipules and a white chevron. I know I'm looking at white clover because this is glabrous. It lacks any sorts of hairs. In fact, all the grass, or almost all of the grass that I can find around me, is of pretty similar characteristics. You'll notice it has very prominent veins, that the leaf is rolled in the sheath, and that it lacks any prominent auricles. So I'm looking at a tall fescue sward, or mixture of grasses, along with white clover in pretty great abundance. But there's also another interesting invader in this population, which can be considered a forage species, and you can see that this is pinnately compound leaf with tendrils, leaflets with tendrils. This species is hairy vetch. If you haven't looked at this one before, it is common on roadsides and frequently will climb and twine surrounding species to help support it. Interesting annual species. It's pretty undesirable in wheat fields, but can be a decent member of a forage community. Lots of other places that you can look as well to help find more mature or taller individuals, but certainly even in a mowed environment you can still find multiple forage species. Hey everyone, coming to you now from my side porch, where I wanted to look again and see if I could find some areas in sort of an unkept area, a place that hasn't been mowed, right next door to my house. Let me flip the camera around here so you can have a look and see what I'm seeing. So we got this area that's unkept next to the sidewalk, and there are actually a good number of species in here that would be of interest, not the least of which is a really shiny leafed plant right here that is obviously rolled in the sheath, right? Not folded like orchard grass, but rather rolled. Glossy characteristics of the leaf surfaces, leaf tips come to a really sharp point, and I hope you can see that there are clasping auricles. So this species, let me pull this apart here so you can see those clasping auricles now that I've completely separated. Also a short membranous ligule. This is annual ryegrass, and there are several individuals of annual ryegrass right here, but not all of them are annual ryegrass. As we look around, we see some plants that have more of a sort of a vigorous upright growth. Let me in fact turn around, it'll be a little bit easier to reach. You'll see some of these individuals are covered with a lot of fine hairs. This is downy brome. This really fuzzy sort of characteristic doesn't necessarily make it undesirable, but when this plant begins to flower, it'll actually produce flowers that can cause some injury to the mouths of livestock. So this one is a weed. You can graze it right now, but later, once it's flowering, you would not want to do so. Other species that can be found in this area, of course, once again, white clover, fairly common member here. And we also see something else that's just starting to green up, and that is bermudagrass. If you were to look really closely, you would find some fine hairs that cover almost all of the surfaces, as well as some hairs down right around the collar region. But this is wild or weedy bermudagrass, which is fine for forage, but just beginning to green up here in mid-April.